What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the GLive Game Night discussion YouTube videos. If you haven't yet, please do click subscribe. My name is Leo, your host as always, joined here by Willow, of course. Willow, kumusta?
It's all good, bro. Masaya mag-game ngayon actually. We enjoyed the opening boxes for everyone in gaming library.
Right.
Yung live draw natin kakatapos na ng
Right.
Black Friday. I'm sure a lot of people enjoyed our 90% discount, diba? Pero I'm just happy na people are enjoying board games even in the pandemic.
Yep. This video will be coming up shortly after the Black Friday weekend, so hopefully you guys had your fair share. And we are joined here by a good friend of Gaming Library for long years now. Of course, joining us on the show for the first time, we have Gabe. Gabe, kumusta? How you doing?
Hello, I'm here. Happy to be hanging out with you, gents. Thanks for giving me this chance to comb my hair, and as a bonus, I put some perfume on. So
nice. I don't think we can smell, but we'll move on. Nice to have you on again, guys. When I don't know, what was that, 4 or 5 years ago? Gabe, her office, and the Gaming Library office kind of shared like a space, and we would always play after work or in between shifts. So
Exactly.
It's been a while, and we kind of miss those days. But yeah, because of the pandemic, because of the Rona, we can't do that. So hopefully we can relive those good old days through little discussions like this. So tonight's episode is going to be all about Viking games. Real quick, a prelude. Let me explain. I've been watching and consuming a lot of Viking content. So this kind of like made sense when I thought about it in hindsight. Parang ang daming Viking games. What's going on? Ang daming Viking media. Just to make that clear. Ang daming Viking media. I've been watching the Vikings TV series. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And then I looked at my gaming shelf. I'm like, I have like almost half a dozen Viking board games alone. So that kind of piqued my interest, and I was wondering what your thoughts were on this. No, so my first question for you guys. I will go with Babe first. What are your favorite Viking themed games and why?
Right, real quick, on my background about like Viking themed stuff, it's based on like being a history nerd, honestly, and so I really dig Viking themed games that touch on that, like less so than like mythology themed games. Like Feast of Odin, I know is a good one. But imagine like I'm more of like a Champions of Midgard type of player in terms of like appreciating Champions of Midgard. And because of its historical themes, I learned a lot actually about like reading the rule book. I don't know if anyone else does this, but I read the rule book.
About
And
mythology.
so, yeah,
about the
it's very-
mythology.
Exactly, and it's chock full of like actual like Viking Age history too. I gotta say though, my favorite of all the Viking themed games is Spoils of War, which actually Neil introduced me to like during one of the All Aboards. I think one of the very first of like the resurgence of All Aboards a couple years back. And so Spoils of War, especially like it because unlike the other Viking themed games that I mentioned, it's a lot. I mean, it's a gateway game. It's a lot more accessible. It's not necessarily like theme heavy. It's basically Liar's Dice, right? So it's quite easy to learn, pick up, with an added like Sheriff of Nottingham style bidding and wagering. So I gotta say, Spoils of War is my fave. Yeah. How about you guys?
That's cool because it kind of adds on to, again, your history buff. I totally get it. Makes sense. Old school, like real life Vikings, I think they played a lot of dice games because that's one of the few games you had in the early times. It was that or like their version of chess. So, you know,
Yes.
like you're kind of partaking. You're kind of partaking.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I wish I played more Spoils of War though. I can remember I played maybe just once or twice. But yeah, Willow, ikaw, anong favorite mong Viking themed board games? And do you like that? Are you a fan of that? How do you feel about just the Viking concept?
For me kasi I'm a fan of the tie of themes and the mechanics. And having a thematic Viking game, it makes sense. Like, kasi you have to assemble your group, you have to raid, plunder villages. May mechanics that you can attack, you can defend, or whatever. So entirely the Viking themed games for me, okay lang siya. It's not like the fave, pero it works because it works. I like Viking themed games. My favorite one right now, and I think hindi na siya mapapalitan, would be Raiders of the North Sea. I still push for it. I keep telling people, if you don't play viticulture or you don't like the theme of making wine, you like yung Viking theme more, then go for Raiders. Yeah, the mechanics are clean. Just yung pag-raid, when you form your group, you raid, you have special people in your group, you get more points, you send the others to Valhalla. It just makes sense for me. Kaya one of my favorite game, if I am not pushing for viticulture with anyone for a worker placement, I really highly suggest the Raiders of the North Sea.
Yeah, I totally love it, man. I put that in my like top 10 Viking games, and Viking games lang yun, but I gotta ask, man, why do you like Raiders of the North Sea? Lalo na, I think there's a new version of it, right? Like Raiders of Scythia.
Yeah, yung 2020 Raiders of Scythia, different publisher, different designer.
Yeah.
What I like about Raiders of the North Sea lang is yung mechanics ng yung twist that they put into worker placement.
The put and take.
Yeah, put and take. Yung timing kasi of putting and taking, trying to block other people by putting dun sa area na hindi mo naman kailangan. That's one really good thing. Kasi I like Tzolk'in also. If you know yung timing ng game na yun, that's crazy timing. A mini version of Tzolk'in, I would say, would be Raiders of the North Sea.
But Raiders of the North Sea is already pretty chunky. Like, by no means is it like an entry point gateway game. Like,
I would
as a worker placement.
I would disagree.
It's pretty light pa for you. What?
It's light. It's a light game. I've thought first time board gamers Raiders of the North Sea.
Okay. Raiders of the North Sea or West Kingdom? Ano mas mabigat?
Mas mabigat?
West Kingdom, di ba?
I don't think so.
What?
Mas
But
mabigat
they're the same. They're in the same weight class, I think.
No, cause yeah, they're similar. Yung hindi mo kasi mag-grasp when you play West Kingdom is you have unlimited workers, pero people could take them from you. Something like that. Madami kong workers.
Okay.
Madami kong workers. Dito kasi sa Raiders of the North Sea, the easy part about it is you have one worker.
Mm-hmm.
Para kang may prisoner lang. You release your prisoner and then you take another one.
Okay. Right. Like, hindi ganun ka sakit yung analysis paralysis. I totally get what you're saying. Okay. So, for me, I guess my favorite Viking themed game would be of like the half dozen I have. Is still Blood Rage. Like, that's still the cream of the crop. It's so hard to say no to Blood Rage. Again, it's a game that perfects combat. It has an amazing system. Aesthetics, like, cool mini or not, diba? Why not Adrian Smith art? And of course, the designer. Sino bang binibiro natin? It's Eric Lang. But that aside, I think what really piques my interest here is, of course, these games are all different kinds, right? Blood Rage is like a take that combat heavy Euro game, and then you have a worker placement in Raiders of the North Sea, and then you have a push your luck and how do you say, social deduction type of deal, or dice based push your luck with Spoils of War. And what was that other game, the first game you mentioned, Gabe?
Champions of Midgard.
Oh yeah.
I also have Champions of Midgard. So
if the Raiders yung pick ko, it would be Blood Rage and then Champions of Midgard.
Diba? So again, we're slowly building here like a trifecta, or like a top 5, top 10 all-stars of Viking themed games. Feast for Odin. How could I forget? So real quick, I think there's a thread that goes through each of them, kahit na they're all across different genres, right? And I think that's just the Viking culture. And that's what I enjoy most about the theme. I enjoy the fact that in all of these different games, you always kind of feel like a Viking. Like, ang hirap iskin ng mga games na to. Like, well, maybe Spoils of War, you can, since it is a super light game. You can maybe change it to like, I don't know, pirates or any other pillaging or plundering culture, but games like Champions of Midgard, wherein you're dealing with Draugr, you're dealing with like going on ships, and then parang putting all of these things together, it's always about that culture. And that's what I love about the Viking theme. It's just this active culture. They're always out to do something. Now, my question for you guys is, in these games, what about it? What about the theme makes you feel like Vikings? How about you, Gabe? Is it because if you were a Viking, you'd also be spending a lot of time splitting up the plunder because you like spoils of war? What is it?
I enjoy that Spoils of War already like assumes that you did well and did not die when you were doing the raiding and pillaging, and it's just like the celebratory aspect of like who gets what.
The fun
like,
part for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like after Halloween, I mean, like sure, it's fun to like walk around and stuff in costume, like but the real fun is when you get home and when you can like split and like trade the candy among your friends or siblings or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my feeling.
Yeah, that's always been a big part of any pillaging and plundering culture. Now, after the raid, they have to bring it back, and then they have to figure that out. So, yeah, that is an interesting part of the whole conundrum. It's an important part because that's why you go raiding anyways. That's why you go Viking. Ikaw, Willow, what's your favorite part about this whole theme?
For me, personally, sa Raiders kasi, I like building a team and then seeing if it works, like giving me maximizing the team.
Yeah,
I'm a coach, I'm a team leader sa mga work ko at saka sa mga stuff that I do outside. So me seeing the strengths ng mga people in the game and then using it to my advantage. Yun yung what I really like dun sa dito kasi in the Vikings it makes sense na I'll hire a thief so that when we go to the castle mas madami kaming makuhang spoils.
Yeah, no, I mean, so basically if you were like in the old Viking times, you'd be like a Jarl or like a war band leader. Kasi ikaw yun ang mamimili, diba? Like you're choosing which kind of warriors you get. And that makes sense. You see that in Blood Rage. You literally draft the kind of soldiers you get, right? And in a game like Champions of Midgard, you get to choose what kind of dice you recruit.
Who's gonna go fight the Draugr.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, that makes sense. So again, these are all essential parts of the Viking lifestyle and the culture that historically and maybe mythologically, artistically kind of stretch that out. But real quick, as we wrap up this short discussion, I gotta ask, what aspects of the Viking culture do you wish to explore? Because again, even if there are so many Viking games out there currently, I'm sure that the vast historical basis of this culture and this theme, I'm sure, especially for you, Gabe, there's still some things that they haven't tapped in board game form. And what might that be?
For me, for sure, have you guys played the Viking chess that you mentioned? That's the one I'm hoping that can be kind of like a trend in in modern board games in general, kind of like putting up on or like celebrating ancient board games. So I think that would be super interesting. Like even with our own local, like pre-colonial board game, like Sungka. Yeah. It'd be awesome to have like a modern board game version of that, like what they did with, like easily chess and stuff. So Viking culture has, they call it Viking chess. When I visited Denmark mostly, that's when I actually got really into the culture a lot more. Went to a board game store there, and they were like, "Oh, we don't have like a local themed board game except for Naftal or Tablut is its more popularly known because that's the one that's surviving." Anyway, it has a really interesting history. Guys, go check it out if you're interested if you're a history buff like me. But Tablut is like it's on like Board Game Arena. I've only really just played it on Board Game Arena. And so it'd be awesome to like maybe elevate that, at least like make tableau, and similarly like Songka or even like other ancient board games.
Yeah,
Like,
actually,
But back into the modern board game
it
scene.
wouldn't be a problem, I think, because again, simplicity is elegance these days. So
True.
abstract games that have this kind of lore and just the weight of the culture can definitely sell. Because I'm now thinking about it, like if someone sold me like, oh, here's a replica of what the Vikings used to play, count me in. Makes sense. How about you, Willow? What kind of Viking things are we missing out on, and something that you wish would show up in board game form soon?
I think one of the aspects ng Vikings na hindi pa masyado na-explore actually into board games is yung naval battles nila. Usually kasi when you do the naval battles, usually it's pirates, I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, I'm not on history buff, pero kasi I've seen like naval battles ng Vikings in shows or like I see them online. It's interesting kasi maganda yung I like their boats. I like how they look. Tapos parang yung pag-raid lang nila. I mean, siguro mas microtransaction, the micro of the things. Kasi usually like kanya sa Champions of Midgard, you just send them sa boat.
Yeah, it's abstracted.
Yeah, walang anything else other than that.
So much potential there.
Yeah.
I think they tried with like shipwrights of the North Sea, but it's
Well, that's right. Isn't that like
explorers of the North Sea also? It's okay, but yung battle talaga wala. It's more of it's abstracted din. Just pasted those two themes on. Kaya yung Raiders, parang they banked na maganda yung Raiders. So when we release a new game, even if it's not a really good game, you know.
Right. This reminds me of a game, man. I had to search it up just to remember. Rum and Bones. That's the closest we have, I think, to an actual like seafaring combat game. But it's not Vikings. It's pirates. It's fantasy pirates. Yeah, and it's kind of based on the MOBA gameplay. Kasi nga lanes siya, and then I totally agree, man. Makes sense because based on the documentaries I've watched and just things you see and hear about the culture, Vikings did fight a fair amount of their battles at sea, like facing off against enemy countries, territories, or amongst themselves. Because again, they're known also for their long ships, their dragon, their dragon boats. Basta, that makes sense. So that's what you're looking forward to. Ako naman, what I wish to see in Viking games or somehow translated, which I've noticed that is in a lot of Viking media like nowadays in I don't know if it's in the sagas, I don't know if it's in their oral tradition, but notice a lot of Vikings that we see or watch, hear about, they always have battle trances. Like at some point they'll just space out and then they'll like have a conversation with Odin or Thor and then they'll space back into the world and like, I'm about to do the right thing, let's do it. Like that's what I noticed, and I'm like, why can't we have that in a board game? Like, why can't there be like a phase wherein we consult with the gods, or like a phase wherein, guys, all right, I'm spacing out. Diba? Like, if there's like a fight, like I'm spacing out, bala kayo. So,
enlightenment, pagbalik sobrang lakas na.
Like a more spiritual aspect.
Or it costs you a turn, or like it costs you some resources. I don't know.
If you get some kind of boon, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen that personally yet, so that might be cool. But aside,
when I think about it now, that'd be super awesome. And also comparatively, when I think about it now, most Viking themed games are based around conflict, like war or like battles and like violence, acts of violence. And it's just that apparently Vikings are also more likely. I mean, like also touching on Willow's interest in like maritime affairs or like nautical themed Viking stuff. They're also very much traders. So like the recent cropping up of like Viking themed games. I even recall, I think like in our PH board game enthusiasts like Facebook group community, right? Like Jake Fernandez, shout out to Jake, I guess. He's running like our top 100 board games. And in the latest post, I think it was like here you go, from 60 to 59 to 41. So many, like 59 is a feast for Odin. And then funnily enough, all of the board games except for Blood Rage, all of the Viking themed games are here.
Right.
So quite highly ranked for a theme that hasn't been like explored so much maybe in the past 10 years of modern board games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot popular. So I think there's also a lot of potential to like put together like nautical themed things, like learning more about the culture and that history, like besides the warfare.
Yeah, I mean it's a big It's a big part of it's a big part of the lifestyle of the culture. Some would even say even the religion, the faith that they have.
True.
It's all built on this basis of if I die in battle, I go to Valhalla. But yeah, again, this is our little talk on Viking themed board games. If you guys have any input, go ahead, let us know what your favorite Viking themed games are. What do you enjoy about the theme, and what aspects of this theme you'd like to see more represented in future games to be released. On behalf of Gabe, Willow, and the rest of the GLive Game Night fam, my name is Leo. Please do click subscribe, and if you liked the video, you enjoyed it, click like as well. We'll see y'all next time.